live on nesn, YouTube, and Twitch. We got plenty of comments on YouTube. We'll get to those. Mike Vrabel speaking for 34 minutes, Trav, answering plenty of questions from coordinators, 18 total, to how he's going to work with the front office. But overall, you walk away. What's your first impression of him, now the head coach of the New England Patriots?
Well, Vrabel talked that long, but if you notice, Robert Kraft, nothing. And remember, in the introductory press conference for Drake Maye, we heard a lot of Robert Kraft. Naturally so. It felt like he had to validate this move, explain it to everyone. Not so much here with Mike Vrabel. This was a guy everyone wanted from the beginning, as we talked about, George. The things that stood out to me here were the same things that stood out to you. Accountability, toughness, culture. He used culture a ton of times. One thing that stood out to me, he kept harping on, sort of knowing your personnel. Hey, we want to move with tempo. There's going to be complexity to a lot of what we do, but only if the guys can handle it. He said that 2 or 3 times. That stood out to me. That's knowing your personnel. That's what elite coaches in this league do. It's not just about my system or the highway. No. What's our personnel? What are we capable of doing? What's our bandwidth as a team in terms of what we can or cannot do? I like that Vrabel harped on that. You know, over time, obviously, we'll get the roster that he can maximize and compete for Super Bowls. But certainly, right away, that's just telling me I have to deal with what I have to deal with what I have in-house. We all are hoping for a big offseason here, but I just like that he's in tune with that. Whatever we got, we're going to maximize. The other thing, too, just his coaching record, 54-45, a winning record there. We know he famously beat the Patriots, Belichick and Brady in 2019, Brady's last playoff game with the Patriots. I'm looking forward to this. I mean, I was impressed with this press conference, but it gave me everything I was anticipating anyway, George. I knew he was going to come in, be calm, cool, collected, in control. There would be no Drake Maye sort of feel of like, does this guy really know what he's doing? We know Mike Vrabel knows what he's doing, and I expect to see that on the sidelines here as well with his debut as far as head coaching the Patriots.
And you look right there, Robert Kraft, Mike Vrabel, and their families as well, taking a photo there. The first official photo, first official moment of Mike Vrabel as head coach. What stuck out to me was he talked about accountability. 3 of his first 4 questions and answers, he mentioned Elliott Wolf, which shows the collaboration, the open mind he has to it. And you brought it up with when he was asked about offensive coordinators and offensive scheme. He basically summarized it in based on what the players can understand and handle. He knows he has a great quarterback, which he said was appealing. He understands the cap space. He understands the draft pick. And it's what makes these rebuilds go long, right, Trav? You have to redo the roster in year 1. You have to get out with the prior system, schemers, coordinators, coaches all wanted. But he's going to go into that building and figure things out. And what he's going to shape Patriot Place into, what stuck out to me was a place guys will feel welcomed to walk into, will have the resources for them. For someone that's defensive-minded and someone that was a consultant for a year, Mike Vrabel is tapped in with the modern game. All his answers on offense were very refreshing, but he said it time and time again, it's about building relationships and having that within the building. He sounds like he's going in with an open mind to Elliott Wolf, even if he does want Ryan Cowden in there, which he did not really bring up. He sounds like he's going in with an open mind of who the coordinator will be, even if Robert Kraft and Jonathan Kraft may be pushing for a Josh McDaniels. He's worried about getting in there day 1 and taking that first step. And he said it, man. Culture, you find out what it is when you're at the lowest point. Patriots, 33-51 since Tom Brady left. 8-26 the last 2 seasons. There is no lower point than right now with the Patriots. 3 head coaches and 3 different years. Mike Vrabel was a guy for the job. It was ugly how they got to the end point, but he's the right guy, and we just saw it right there in Justin's introductory presser. Commanded the room, knows how to answer the media, knows how to handle this market, and has an answer for everything and actual answers. He's not filibustering. He's not filling up time. He had actual answers there, and again, it jumped out to me so many things, and how he was open. When asked, hey, have you spoken to your franchise quarterback yet? That's what makes this job the most appealing. He said, I've spoken to players. He's not putting anyone above anyone else right now.
No, listen, you make a great point about that relationships quote. That came from a question about what did you learn from your time in Tennessee that you're going to bring here, which is a fantastic question, George. And that's what he talked about, relationships. I started reading the tea leaves. Is this the past, maybe the A.J. Brown relationship going left there in Tennessee. Remember that? Is this, we heard of, some turbulence there with the front office in Tennessee? Is that sort of a reaction to that I learned you have to have relationships with everyone in the building, not just the players?
Yeah.
I thought I keyed in on that as well. I thought it was really, quite frankly, I think it showed a lot of growth from Mike Vrabel, too. We're getting the best version of him with this job. He spoke about how I needed to leave to get some coaching experience. I didn't want to do that here. I wanted to kind of pave my own way. I thought that was really smart. He didn't say it, but he alluded to, I could have coached here if I wanted to, probably under Belichick, right? But I wanted to go Tennessee, forge my own path. So I think now with the Tennessee, the success and the ending, the way it ended there, I think coming here now to New England, we are getting the best version of Mike Vrabel.
Going to the YouTube comments quick. We have Durham saying, exciting day for the Patriots. Certainly is so. You have someone that actually is a CEO and can lead an entire franchise.
Yes.
Let alone in meeting rooms. Alec saying, what's the number one offseason priority now that the head coach is in place? In my opinion, it is offensive coordinator. Then they go from there, who will lead the front office?
Sure.
Who will lead the front office? Those are the two biggest things, and everything goes from there. Mark Hughes commenting, awesome hire. Bring back the Patriot way. Any dread having something go play in Miami or somewhere? I don't know what he's saying at the end. But you see Mike Vrabel saying there's a marriage of what I learned from here, but also what he got from the outside. Even when asked about it being a dream job. And then we have a Giorgio commenting, will the front office be the thing that holds this team back? My short answer, yes. But it could also be the thing that makes this team succeed. Time and time again, I've said it, Trav, since the firing happened of Drake Maye, since the season was going awry, it's going to take more than Mike Vrabel to turn this all around. It's going to take more than one person to get the Patriots back to being a good team. And what I love he hinted at, step one for him, let's figure out how to beat bad football. That's how the Patriots beat the Bengals and the Jets this season, but that's how they could have beaten the Dolphins, the Titans, other one-score games where they lost, the Colts. Figure that out. It's step at a time, and he understands it's going to be a long journey.
Within that same quote about bad football and not playing it, he also talked about the AFC East. And I don't think that was a coinky-dink. I think outside of Buffalo, there's a lot of bad football. By the way, Belichick-Brady era, there's a lot of bad football in the division. And Vrabel spoke about, we want to win this division and have home playoff games in the postseason. That, to me, I just think he was tying into the Jets are a mess always. We know that. The Bills are Josh Allen dependent, so we'll see. We have to compete with them. And then Miami's headed in the wrong direction as well. So I think he's speaking of bad football in that division.
And also the maturity we see. You spoke about him, the growth. I mean, this is a guy that has been coaching in the NFL. Look, 14-year playing career, coached for 14 years, the last 11 in the NFL, including this past season with the Browns as a consultant. But he said it. When asked about Drake Maye and the conversations with the players, Mike Vrabel said, most important thing I can tell them that everyone is starting over.
That's right.
This is a head coach that was given a second chance. He's giving every player on this roster, everyone in that room, including Elliott Wolf, which I think is big, a second chance.
Yes.
They talk about collaboration. When I say they, it's the Crafts. They talk about it. This is a head coach that will put it into action. But you also know with him, with his resume, with his experience, and again, a guy that seems a lot more open-minded to working with people, that is someone that could put their foot down, and he has the rapport that when he says something's going one way and he makes a decision, you know it's the right decision made. That is someone that can call the shots when it comes to football, and the Patriots needed that desperately. They weren't getting it from Drake Maye. No. They certainly weren't getting it from the Crafts. Now they're going to get it from Mike Vrabel.
He even put these players on notice, too, about speaking out in the media. He didn't use those exact words, but when he says a quote like, this football team will no longer be entitled, that's exactly who he's talking to. You will not go in the media and run your mouth about my football team. This is a new sheriff in town, George, and I love it.
I hope that clip is clipped off and sent to the wide receiver room.
Yes.
Keyshawn Boutte, Jalen Polk, all those guys.
He put them on notice.
One last comment from our guy, Dripsaw Killa. It will be depressing if we run it back with Pop, Boutte, Bourne, Polk, and Baker. Let's pray that we make a move for a playmaker. Dripsaw Killa, that will definitely happen. But Pop and Kendrick Bourne and Jalen Polk, I'm not going to give up on Polk yet. One season in. Bring in an actual wide receiver coach, maybe a Wes Welker, and that can change things. Again, the resources, coaching, teaching, accountability, that's everything Mike Vrabel pushed on. 16th head coach in the history of the New England Patriots. He's Travis Thomas. I'm George Bilecki. Thank you so much for tuning in on nesn, on YouTube and Twitch as well. We'll have more on Boston has entered the chat as well. Have a good one, everyone.